afternoon, students. I think all of you have got your new half-yearly syllabus and you have seen that there is a change in your syllabus. A new chapter has been added. That is weather, climate and adaptation of animals to climate. This chapter has been added to your syllabus. Now students, today I am going to start with this new chapter, that is weather, climate and adaptation of animals to climate. Students, can you tell me what do you mean by the word weather? I think everyone is familiar of this term, isn't it? Some of you may say that the weather is the daily temperature that usually changes in our atmosphere. Some of you might say that ma'am, today's weather is very hot, or today the weather is sunny, right? So in one word we can say that weather is the day-to-day changes in the atmosphere at a particular place. Why I am adding this word a particular place? Because you have noticed that if in Barakpur the weather is sunny, but in Kolkata the weather might be rainy, isn't it? Sometimes you have heard that a heavy rain is going in Kolkata while there is no rain in Barakpur. So this weather actually depends on a particular place, and it might happen that today we are not getting the rain, but tomorrow there is heavy rain in Barakpur while there is no rain in Kolkata. So weather is the day-to-day changes at a particular place. I think all of you have followed, right? So now we will move on to the change in weather. How weather changes at a particular place, or what causes the weather to change at a particular place. The basic thing that is important for this weather is the sun. The weather will be hot or cold, that depends totally on the sun. How? If we have a clear sky and the sun is present there, then it is quite normal to determine that day is going to get a very high temperature, or that is a hotter day. And if you are having a cloudy day, that means there is no sun, so the weather is going to happen a little bit normal or a little bit lower temperature, and that will be a cooler than the previous one. So basically the change in weather happens due to the presence of the sun. To some extent clouds are also responsible for that, but our main thing that controls the weather is the sun. Now in controlling this weather, the first two terms that comes, that is the minimum temperature and the maximum temperature. What is that? You might have heard that all of we sometimes discuss that today in the morning we have a very cool weather, or during the summer season it has been told that in the morning it is quite cooler than the other time of the day. Why? Because it is notified that the temperature at the morning is quite low than the temperature at the other parts of the day, while in the afternoon we generally get the highest temperature. That is the reason why the summer afternoons have the highest temperature while the winter mornings have the lowest temperature. Now the temperature that is recorded at the morning is known as the minimum temperature, and the temperature that is recorded at the afternoon, that is known as the maximum temperature. And one more thing that is related with this temperature or weather, that is the humidity. If you people just listen to the news, it sometimes says during with the weather report that this percentage amount of humidity is present in today's air. What is that? Humidity means the amount of moisture that is present in the atmosphere at that time of the day is known as the humidity. Sometimes in the rainy season there is huge amount of moisture present in the air, and then the humidity is higher. The high amount of humidity leads us to a suffocating weather, right? Sometimes you will see that there is lots and lots of perspiration is coming out, though the temperature is not so high, right? Why this is? And our elders, you have also heard that our elders say that since we are perspiring so much, then the rain might happen in the evening, right? Why this is so? Because before raining, the atmosphere generally gathers this humidity from the surrounding water bodies, and whenever this humidity just fulfills the level, then the rain comes down. So humidity is also a very important factor while determining this change in weather, right? Now, next we will move on to the climate. So what is a climate? A climate generally happens for a longer regional area. What is that? As I have told you, that weather is basically prevalent at a smaller area. That means at a particular place. While climate, it is applicable for a large country like India. We can say that India is having a tropical type of climate, or India is having a hot climate. But we generally don't say that India is having a sunny weather, right? This is the difference between a weather and climate. Weather is prevalent at a smaller region, and it changes from day to day. Whether climate is applicable for a huge area, that means for a country, and this climate is determined by observing the weather of a place for long than 25 years. That means after watching what type of weather climate is prevailing in a particular country for 25 years, we can decide that India is having a hot tropical type of climate, right? Next, we will move on to the polar climate. Now, you can see that there are 4 types of climate generally are present. That means that is present in overall in whole of the world, or we can differentiate the climate into these 4 different types. The first one is the polar climate. The second one is the temperate climate. Third is the tropical climate, and the fourth and last one is the desert climate. So we will first discuss with this polar climate. Everybody of you have listened about the polar regions, right? That is the North Pole and the South Pole. And what type of climate prevail there? Do you know? I am telling you. In the polar region, there is heavy low temperature is present, and the climate is very dry. That means the temperature there generally prevails below the sub-zero level. That means below zero level, and there is less and least amount of moisture is present, or humidity is present in the atmosphere of the polar regions. So generally you cannot find very much different types of plants and animals there in the polar region. Some of the animals like the polar bear, the penguins, they are present in this region, but you cannot find a variation of the plants or a huge amount of animals in these regions, because it is very hard to live or to sustain in such an extreme time of climate. So we can say that this polar region is having one of the extreme type of climate, that is very, very cold. Next is the temperate climate. A temperate climate is that type of climate that is neither too hot or not too cold. There is a medium, a suitable place to live or to sustain with. Next is the tropical climate. A tropical type of climate is that one that is very hot, but and a huge amount of humidity is present in the atmosphere. And due to this huge amount of humidity in the air, this tropical type of climate gets the heaviest rain among these 4 type of climate. And one more important thing, this tropical type of climate is gets the huge variations of plants and animals among these 4 type of climates, because due to rain there is varieties of plants and animals can live in this type of climate. And you can find the greatest the great Amazon that is also present in this tropical type of climate. Now the last one, that is the desert climate. The desert climate, you can see that in the desert a hot and dry type of climate prevails, and in the desert the temperature generally rises above the 50 degrees Celsius, and to some extent in the afternoon it might cross to 55 and above. And in desert climate there is very low amount of humidity is present, and or we can say no amount of humidity is present, and this climate get the least amount of rain among these 4 type of climates. And in the desert there are also some animals that you know, like the camel, the and the plant in if we talk about the plants, the cactus type of plants or the xerophytic plants are only sustained in this type of desert. So students, in our next class we will discuss about the factors on which climate depends. So today up to this, we will continue in our next class. Thank you.